when I'm out driving and I'm in the mood for getting pissed off, I usually flip on NPR and it never fails to satisfy. So I did that today, and there was a podcast on called Today Explained, which is produced by Vox. And the title of today's episode was called The Nostalgia Economy. And this episode was about Donald Trump's tariffs. And I personally have mixed feelings about the tariffs, right? But the host had on a guest named Eric Levitz, who's, I guess, a senior correspondent at Vox. And so he was making this case that Trump's motivation for imposing tariffs on other countries was to relive that he claimed Trump had a nostalgic vision of the 50s, sort of like a sentimental view of this idealistic, time in America's history, and that Trump emotionally would like to relive this time. So that's why Trump is imposing tariffs on these other countries. He wants to bring back manufacturing so Trump can personally relive the glory of the 50s. And this was like the most fucking stupid thing I've ever heard. So I thought, this will be fun. I'm gonna listen. So this kid, this expert went on to talk about, he made the case that Trump isn't just putting tariffs on critical manufacturing sectors like chips, which he is. He's putting tariffs on everything. And so, for example, coffee, we can't even produce coffee en masse, he said, here in the US. So it made no sense to put tariffs on coffee. Clothing, he mentioned like low value industrial goods. And so he said, Trump's clearly not focused on like critical manufacturing sectors. He has a vision to bring us backwards decades. It's this, he said, quote, nostalgic longing for a time when we had tight-knit communities, stable families, and male breadwinners who worked in factories, healthy family arrangements. And he said there's a gender aspect to this. It's the idea of having men be the breadwinner. And the other thing that I enjoyed hearing was he said that the vision, the nostalgic vision, involves the idea of using brute strength. Like this kid thinks that, I don't know, the guys in the factories are going to be like having 5 people lift an iron anvil or something. I don't know what he's thinking, but that was the idea. And what was pathetic is this poor kid couldn't substantiate. He couldn't find any quotes from Trump, who speaks to the media daily. Trump talks to the media every single day, sometimes several times a day, right? And he talks about this all the time, right? He speaks publicly about his tariffs all the time. So we know why Trump's imposing the tariffs, right? But this kid couldn't find any quotes from Trump to substantiate the fact that this is Trump's vision, right? This nostalgia. So the only thing he could dredge up was a quote from 4 years ago from Senator Josh Hawley, talking about something about manufacturing and how men used to be able to support their families or something, right? Which is true. So that's the idea, right? So what this kid doesn't understand, which he didn't walk through, which Trump has made very clear, is that Trump has 3 basic goals, and I would like to quickly recite them for imposing the tariffs. One, he wants to produce. He's been saying this since his first administration, when he realized this during COVID, like, we have to produce things that are critical to national security. We have to produce them on our own soil, right? So he was thinking at the time of, like, at a minimum, medicine. Right? China produced all of our medicine. It became clear that if we had a crisis or a conflict with China, we might end up not having any access to medicine because they're producing it all for us. So we need to bring that back to the US, right? Chips, right? So producing critical goods that are critical to national security, that's one motivation for imposing the tariffs, right? To bring the manufacturing of those things back to the US. Number 2, he wants to create jobs, right? So he wants to bring production back here to create more jobs, right? And then his third motivation is, there are countries, whatever the goods are that they produce, there are countries that have imposed tariffs on us, and he's imposing reciprocal tariffs on them simply to motivate them to drop their tariffs, right? So that's the basic goal with the tariffs. Trump's repeated this over and over again, and it's pretty clear he's thought this through, and that's the goal. But here's the point that the host and this kid don't understand. Okay, George Bush did a lot, okay, to facilitate moving manufacturing abroad. George W. Bush, right? So, and here's the point, right? Obama in 2008, a Democrat, himself ran on bringing manufacturing jobs back, right? So I didn't hear anyone saying that Obama, had this strange nostalgia for the 50s when he was advocating and pushing for policies that would bring manufacturing jobs back to the U.S. and protect American manufacturing workers, right? So Obama failed to do that. He made this empty promise, and as a result, he actually won, like, what, Ohio? He won these manufacturing states that George Bush had won, right? So by saying he was going to bring back manufacturing, he won Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, and Pennsylvania, I think, right? So this was something Democrats supported in 2008. It made sense to them because they voted for Obama, and Obama suckered these guys that were out of work because we shipped manufacturing abroad. Then what did Obama do? Nothing. He didn't renegotiate NAFTA like he promised he would. He did nothing. He did absolutely nothing to try to keep manufacturing here. And in fact, at some point he said, those jobs never come back. So these people can't connect the dots in their own heads, okay? They can't see the connection, the thread from Bush to Obama promising to be sort of an antidote to Bush, Obama breaking the promises that helped him win the election, right? So they're not even pissed like Obama broke his promises about this, right? And then Trump can run on the same agenda in 2016 because Obama made the promise and broke it. So Trump ran on Obama's '08 promise of bringing back manufacturing, right? And these people don't get this. They don't get this, right? They need to explain, like, well, why was it good that Obama made the promise, but it's bad that Trump made the promise, right? Why is it nostalgia when Trump makes the promise, but it's not when Obama makes the promise, right? But here's the other point. This is why Trump won in 2016, because Democrats, like the people in this podcast, right? They just don't know what they're talking about, right? So Trump, they willingly demonized these people that were out of work because manufacturing was shipped abroad, that Obama championed and Democrats supposedly supported in 2008. In 2016, they disparagingly referred to them as uneducated white males, right? They just completely abandoned these people. And then they were shocked that they lost them to Trump. I mean, these people, they're such freaking idiots. It's unbelievable. So anyhow, it boils my blood to hear this bullshit being put on the airwaves from people who don't know what they're talking about, and they have to go back 4 years to find a quote from Josh Hawley to substantiate their claim. So anyhow, Trump knows what he's doing. He's rationalized his reasons for these tariffs. It makes complete sense, and a lot of people are behind it. And I suspect he's going to succeed.